Hi everyone, it's Laura from Grain & Company, and today I'm here with January's new subscription box. Once again, we're here for another year, and I greatly appreciate you guys following us. So let's get started on our new interchangeable truck. So with this one, we are featuring the Valentines because it is for January, but as the year progresses, there are other inserts that can be purchased to fill your truck if you wish to do so down the line. So with this, we're going to get started with our staining. So you're going to need your base. Your base is going to be a little bit skinnier because I realize I don't need it as wide as the designer had it. And then we're going to take up all the tape on here and get out all of the pieces that we need to stain. So there's a few pieces in here we won't do anything with, but there'll be parts to the assembly of the interchangeable part of the truck. So you will need, whoops. Okay, the pieces you'll need to stain are, hold on a second here. Okay, so I'm just gonna let this all fall away like that. Okay, so that's garbage. So you'll need this piece and this piece and this piece because that goes together there. These two pieces will be for the back of the truck, so you won't need to do anything there. These will be painting the truck color, and these will be painted the same gray. The inside of your frame is now garbage, and this will be white. And I'm just drawing a blank, but I think this one is stained too. So I'm just gonna quickly go check, and then same with this little tiny handle. So hold on a second. Okay, so this piece is stained and this piece is the same color as your truck, and that's the handle. Okay, so let's get started with the staining. So you'll need your gloves and your foam brush. Oops. And something to wipe with. We use blue shop towels, and your stain. Need very much. Okay, so we only need to stain the one side of these because they have the adhesive on the back to help put it all together. But I'm going to begin by doing the base. So give it a little squish. I think I'd have some better brushes here, but I found one. Everything else is at the store, so I'm just going to start and apply. And then just wipe. So if you have enough stain, you can do the back side. I think I'll have enough from what you guys were given to do that. Wipe your sides in case you get a little dripping off the sides. Okay, and we're just gonna let that dry, and then you can come in here and do the rest. You really shouldn't have to load up your brush too much when you're doing these smaller pieces. Give it a wipe and then just set them off to the side. We won't need those for a while. Okay. Actually, I'll just stick them here. Okay. All right, next we will bring out the truck and all of its pieces. Okay, so with the truck, we'll have this little piece for the handle, and we'll have these two guards that will go over the wheels here. So when you're painting, when we come to painting the wheels, we can paint them all, and it doesn't matter if we get anything in here because we'll just cover it up anyway. So I'm just gonna paint the chateau color. That's the color I did the truck, and if I'm not perfect in here, that's fine because we're going to cover it up. It's kind of our transition point. So for these pieces I'm going to use my sponge, and for this piece I'm going to use my brush. So that'll be the chateau color. That should be the next color you have lots of. So I'm just going to use my paper towel that I just used, and then that can be my blotting piece. Now for this piece, so if I don't want to hold it, I'm just going to put some tape down on my table. Now I've got parchment here, so my tape won't stick. So I'm just going to set it right there, and I'm going to place that piece on top. So when I'm painting it, then it's not bouncing and I don't have to hold it. So I don't know, maybe I will do I'll probably just do the sponge for the whole thing, but you can do the brush. So I'm not gonna blot off quite so much for this because I can use a lot of it and I don't have to start right on the edge. So I'm just gonna leave some of that paint on there and then work it on my truck here. So as you can see, I'm kind of just leaving that part there. You don't want too much as you're approaching the edge. That way you don't have a whole lot to wipe off, but that's what your baby wipes will be for. Gently in there. I'm bringing it down to the bottom, so when I do put those pieces on, it doesn't, if there's any bare wood there, it'll kind of just blend a little bit better. Okay, so that part's there. I'm just going to check my edges. Take my baby wipe and just come in here and wipe. As long as you aren't too heavy on your paint, you shouldn't really have a whole lot to wipe. Now this ledge here, I mean, if you did get some there, you wouldn't necessarily have to wipe it if you don't want to, because it will kind of get disguised when we start assembling the truck, but you can still wipe it. All right, so there's not a whole lot. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna let that dry for a second, and then I can come and do these. Just gonna blot some of that off. There we go. Okay, so you can come in and wipe these, or you can leave them. Like if you get a nice light dusting of paint where it's even all the way around, you can just leave it. It really doesn't bug me as long as it's even all the way around. If it gets pretty uneven and pretty goopy, then I'll just wipe it away, but I'm just gonna leave it. There we go. So we're just gonna let those dry for a moment. In the meantime, we can take this apart. Now, I gotta try and remember because my truck isn't in front of me, so I'm gonna just pause the video for a second, and I'm gonna go figure out which pieces I painted which color so that they line up on my sample. So I might even do a guide for you guys if I remember before I pack your boxes, and I might just say, you know, P, R, and W for pink. What is the other one? Coral. So P, C, and W in a little piece of paper, so you know which ones, when you lay it over top, you'll know which ones are which. But yeah, I will be right back because I'm going to figure those ones out. Okay, I'm back and I figured out what I needed to do. Okay, so when you take them out, so I won't make a chart, I'm just going to explain to you really quickly. Okay, so when you take them out and stack them, you have got four different sizes here. Okay, so for the main color, which is the blush, I'm doing the large one, which is by itself. The next size down has 3. I'm taking 2 of those. The next size down has 4, and I'm taking 2 of those. So that is the blush color. When we're doing the cider, which is the orange color, we're going to do 2 of this very small ones, and the other, so we go, there's 4 different sizes. So let's just do this again. Okay, so with the cider, you're going to take 2 of the small ones and then the one that's left by itself. So that's the orange ones. And then the white ones, you're going to have the 2 and then the one small one here. So that's how those ones will go. I'm just going to set these off to the side. And then that's what you're going to have. Okay, so in the meantime, while I did that, these were drying. So I will come back. I'm going to sand these. So your wood can look a little rough, especially on that first coat. So don't worry about it being perfect because that's what the sanding's going to do. So sand in the direction of the grain, which is the side to side. Apologize if the camera is shaking. Okay, and then okay, and so those ones are done, and then I'm going to just grab this one. So one more coat should be enough. And so I'm just going to go back and do it again, and I'm going to do it on fast, so that way you don't have to sit here and watch me do it all over again. And then we'll continue on with the next bit. Okay, so that part is done, and I'm just going to let that dry. And the next part, so we won't do the black until those are dry, so we don't smear any paint. So I'm just going to go in and we can do the gray on these. So I'm just going to give them a little sand here. Okay, so same thing with these, so they're not bouncing all over the table. I'm going to put a piece of tape on my table. Okay, and I don't think I'm gonna need this anymore, so I'm just gonna snip it off. If you have any other sponges around, you can always go grab that. Okay, and what else? Because I'm gonna start doing more than one color, I'm just gonna cut this in half. Okay, so we need our gray. So with those little paint pods, if you can't obviously dip your sponge in it, if you have a little tray like this or paper plate, you can just pour out what you need and then do it that way. Okay. Okay, and I'm not gonna wipe those because they're just really small. Okay, so while those are drying, I'm gonna start on the green. You know what, guys? I think I forgot to bring a color home. Let's see. I did. All right, so I've got the green. I just forgot my white. All right, so for the green, we're gonna do all of the back here. So grab the other half of the sponge. Now with this, just be very careful. It is very delicate until you get some of your other pieces glued on. So you can tape it into place, but I'm just kind of holding it as I go. Now be careful how much paint you put down here, because you don't want to get it too heavy that it doesn't fit in the slot. So just be careful there. And if you're doing a nice thin coat on this, then anything that goes on the sides will just stay, because it's just too difficult to wipe. So I'll probably just do one coat on the bottom or just sand it lots. So I'm just going to set that off to the side. I mean, if you wanted to, you could do the back. It's not really seen, but you should have enough. If not, it is the lichen color, and you can always, if you have some in your stash, but you should have enough to do some in the back. But I wouldn't do it until you make sure you had enough in the front. Okay, so let's go back to the gray. Give those a sand. Okay, and then I'm just going to do one more quick coat on that. Because I pulled them off already, that made the tape less sticky. So let's see if that works. There we go. Okay, so I'll just let those dry. And I'm going to give the green just another moment, and I'm going to come back to my truck. Now if you want, you can also, paint the back. Even if you wanted to, you could take it and just give it a sand on the back and wear any of the char away. And just give it a feel, see if there's anything that you've missed. come back to this truck here in a second, but I'm going to come back and do the green. There's one more step on the truck before the black. Okay, so now when you're sanding this, just very gently hold each stem as you do it, and just very lightly. You don't have to put a whole lot of pressure, just enough to take away any of that fuzziness that the wood has from painting. But you don't want to catch it by accident and then break one. So just really support it. Or even just sand it gently in little spots like that. And then just use your hands to feel it. Okay, so one more coat. Okay. Now this time I'm gonna just avoid the bottom part. Okay, and then we're just gonna let that dry. Okay, so set that off to the side. Now with this, if you notice in the picture, there is a little bit of aging to the truck. Now if you don't want to do this because you think you're gonna ruin it, then just leave it. Now really all I did, you would be surprised, is I just took my dirty charred one. Oh, I need a little bit more sandy. And I had wiped it. That's how I initially did it. I just took my dirty baby wipe and wiped it across. But we're going to be a little bit more strategic. So I'm just going to put a little stain in one little spot, and I'm going to blot most of it off because I don't want it to be that concentrated. And I'm just going to gently wipe in the direction of the grain. And I'm just going to pull some streaks through it. Doesn't have to be much, just enough to give it some character. If you don't like that, or you do it and you don't like it, you can always paint over it. That is okay, but there is really not a whole lot. The wetness from the baby wipe is helping, so make sure you do blot out a lot of that moisture and the stain from it. But I'm not wiping, like, it's pretty much dry, and I'm just keep reblotting in that one spot, and I'm just kind of like aging it so you can see. I'm not sure you can see a little bit of that dirtiness to the truck. Just kind of breaks up that cream color that we've done it. I mean, you can try these pieces on there, see how you like it. And so it just gives it a little bit of depth. And then don't forget about your little handle here. Oops. Kind of just, there we go. So that is all I'm doing. It's not a whole lot, but it's just enough to give it a little bit of depth to it. So, all right. Off my finger. Okay, so these pieces can just dry for a second, and I'm going to come back to this one. So this is the engraved one. See, I need my white. Hold on, guys. Yeah, I did forget my white. So we're just we'll prep this one, and we'll have to finish that part when I go back to the store on Tuesday, and I'll grab the white and we'll finish the rest of this. So what you'll want to do to prepare this is take your sandpaper. Usually I like a little grittier one, but it's not here right now. So I'm just gonna sand that away to lighten it, especially since we're working with white. I don't want any of that yellow to pop through. So, all right, so that's there. So that'll be done in white along with my 3 hearts. So we can work on that the next time. Okay, so these ones are dry. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to sand those. And that one. And that one. Okay. So these ones are fine. They might require a little bit more sanding after, but as long as you didn't put too much of the stain on there to age it, it should be fine. And this one I'm just going to let sit for a little longer. So I'm going to come in here now and do my flowers. So I'm just, or my hearts, I mean. I'm just going to do that so I can pull it forward and then we can do all of these ones here. Okay. Now we're going to do the cider ones here. Okay, so those are those ones, and then I'll do the blush ones here. Okay, so since I don't need that, since I don't need these anymore, now I can cut them down and do one for cider and one for the blush. And I'm going to move this out of my way for now. Okay. So same thing, we're going to put your colors on your little tray. Won't need much of that one. Sugar just okay. And then just do your coat on here. You'll do 2. And so with the blush, I was able, so last year when we did this, we shipped you, well, it was the first time working with this color, so I did not make it. I just went and got it from one of our stores around here. And so it made it really hard to ship blush without it being ruined. So this year, I have managed to create it with the Fusion Mineral Paint. So that means it's shippable. Just like the cider, it's also a shippable color now too. So that'll be good. I'm trying to make most of the new colors that I can't figure out right away, fusion colors, using fusion colors, because that way I can ship them when it's cold. Such is the life in Canada. All right, so I'm just gonna give those a few moments to dry, and we can come in and sand this one in the meantime. And if you did paint this, just make sure that it's nice and smooth and it's not too heavy in paint. So that part is fine there. So in the meantime, oh, that won't take long. So you could sand this while you're waiting, because these won't take that long to dry. So those pieces are done, and these ones are getting there. So I'm gonna try and do it on here. Oh, I gotta take them off. So if you have better tape than this green tape, then you'll probably stay on while you're sanding, but this is just a cheap dollar store tape, and well, it doesn't do as well. just stick them back on there. Hopefully they will stay in place. Okay, and then just repeat. Okay, so those are good enough because once I sand them, they're gonna be distressed anyways. So we're just gonna let those dry. Okay, so the next part is, is the black on the truck. So you'll want to use your little 1/4 inch brush so you can get in there a little bit easier. And don't worry about painting the centers. You can do that. We're just going to cover them up anyway, so just go on there. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry and then I'm gonna gently sand it and then I'm gonna come back and do another coat and then I'm going to leave it at that because I forgot my white. And so I'll just continue the video on when I get it and then we can do the white parts and then assemble the truck. All right guys, so I'll just let the video keep playing and you can watch me do the second coat. And then I will be back in a couple days. Okay. Okay guys, I'm back to do the white on the truck here. So grab your white and we're going to use our makeup sponge for the hearts. And then we're going to use our baby wipes for this part here. So just like before, take your sponge, dip it in the paint, blot it all off, and then just dab it all over. So that'll take 2 or 3 coats depending on your coverage, and then we'll grab a baby wipe. Okay, so sometimes it helps first to give this a sand in case it's a little rough, because otherwise your baby wipe will catch on it. And we did do some sanding yesterday, or when we were here last, to get rid of some of that. So just make sure it's nice and smooth, and then you can go ahead and dip your baby wipe in the paint and then blot all of that off so it's nice and even and not too heavy. And then just very gently, I gotta lay it down guys, wipe it across. So don't press that hard, just very lightly wipe over the surface. You don't want to press because you don't want to put anything in the engraved areas. Just gently wiping that surface. And because it's almost like a wash, because it's diluted with the moisture from the baby white, this will take 3, maybe 4 times to get the nice whiteness that you might be looking for. So I'm just going to keep doing that till I get the coverage that I want, and then we will come back and put the whole thing together. All right, so we'll see you soon. Okay guys, this is my 4th time doing that, and just based on, I'll let it dry, but based on what I'm seeing, that will probably be my last coat. And I just noticed I'm missing something. Hold on guys. Okay, so I'm not sure where it went. Boy, this one is really just kicking my butt. So in your package, hopefully you didn't throw it out, because I did, and I'll have to grab a new one. But there's a frame that goes around there, and I had pulled out the inside, and somehow, somewhere, I misplaced it. So you'll want to keep that, and we should have stained it so that when it goes over the truck, or when it's assembled on the truck, that there's a frame around this. So hopefully you go back and you keep that piece, because I don't know where mine went. But when I come back the next time, we will put it all together. And yeah, all right, we'll see you soon, guys. Hi guys, I'm back to do the rest of the video for our January subscription box. So you should have all your pieces done. I know I had spoken that I had lost my other piece. Well, I did find it, but I had to do a little digging. So yes, you'll have your truck painted, your wheels, you have your pieces stained, you've got your leaves done, all your hearts done, and now we can start to assemble. So what we're going to do is we're going to just figure out which pieces go where. So this one goes on that one, and that one goes there. So we can start. You can remove the adhesive from the back, and you can set into place. Just line up your edges, let it hover over top before you give it a press to make sure everything is lined up. Okay, and then press it into place. There we go. Same with this side. Okay, press those in place, and then the little handle will go there. Okay, press that one into place. Next I'm going to do the front bumper, or the grille, and then the insides of the wheels. Okay. And then push that one into place. So for me, I'm just looking at the grain and the wood, and I just want it to go side to side. So that's what I'm looking for. Just make sure the score marks that are under there for the wheels, you just, when you put the circle over top, it'll hide those. Okay, so next we're going to start assembling the stained pieces. So I'm going to do the bottom part here. Okay, and then what we'll do, because this piece is going to fit in between here, we're going to put the frame on the sign. Okay, once it feels even all the way around, you can give it a press. Now you could center it, but for me, I feel like it needs to be where the door would be imagined. So that's why I'm going to kind of line it up with the edge of this and then kind of center it between those two pieces there. So I'm just going to move this closer. So I'm looking at that edge of the truck, and then I'm just centering that between the handle and the rail at the bottom here. And that looks good to me. Okay, so now for this one, this is going to go on here. Now one side is thicker than the other, so put that on the bottom part so it has a bit more to hang on to. And we're going to let it come away from the side of here a little bit. Now we don't want to take the whole back off, because when we put our interchangeable thing in there, we don't want this to get stuck. Now I don't cut it, all these pieces separately. As you know, we cut it all in one thing. So we're actually just going to go in here and just remove the bottom part here. So if you have to take an X-Acto knife and cut straight, you can do that. I'm just gonna, I don't have mine here, so I'm just going to use my finger as a guide and just kind of tear it there. And then I'm just going to set that on the truck. So make sure this bottom part here is just even with this part here. I gotta bring this closer, guys. I can't see it. There we go. And then just press into place. So yeah, so you're only pressing in so you can see how the two rails are still covered, and then you've stuck the bottom part in there. So now these, where the score marks are, they're just, or you're just going to go over and cover those up like that. And just let them hover over top before pressing them into place. Okay, that one's good. And this one's good. Okay, so now when it comes to the interchangeable part, you're going to flip this over. And so you can keep this back part on just like I did this, because you don't really want these sticky, you know, exposed, but you could peel it off and then you could go and rub it off, or you can just leave it. But But this piece is going to line up here, and then after we're going to have to use some glue and attach and put some glue on there because I can't cut adhesive on both sides. So I'm going to do this first. I hope I have my glue here. So what happens at Christmas when I'm not running back and forth to the store every day. Okay. So line it up so you can use those score marks. So you know that's the side you should be lining this up on. So just use the bottom. It really should just sit flush at the bottom and flush on all sides there. Okay, because now you've created the box for this to interchange itself into. So this piece will line up. So this piece will line up here. And that's how we're going to glue it. So we're going to get some glue here. So give me a second. Found some, not my super glue, but it'll have to do. So, all right, so just put here. All right, let's see if this comes out. Oh, yeah, okay. So just a little bit on there. So you want to make sure you don't get any glue inside, at least before it, so don't try and put the interchangeable part in there until you know it's good and dry so it doesn't get stuck. So just attach it there, line it up at the side, and then make sure it's even along that top and give it a press. This will take a little longer for me to set up than my other glue, but I'm just going to press it really well, and then I'm just going to leave it off to the side. And I really hope, guys, that, okay, I have to check something. I realized a week ago that, okay, I'm going to get you guys to check one thing before you glue it on, because I realized a week ago that they changed the thickness of my thin lumber. So what you need to check is that when you slide this in, that they are flush. If for some reason this leaf part is thicker than this part, the glue, the slot part, the part that's open, then you need to message me and let me know, because I will have to cut you a whole new set of this if you haven't glued it together yet, because it won't be thick enough. And that I found out, and I just remember now. So let me try this again with the glue. So if that's not why, if it's not fitting, that's why. So, and I didn't know that till halfway through Christmas and cutting your stuff here. So if you notice that, we'll send you out a new piece. So, all right, I'm just gonna do it this way because there's a lip on my table and it's not making this easy, so. Okay, give it a good press. Okay, and I'm just gonna leave it. Okay. That part's there. Just check it and make sure it's somewhere level, especially if you're using wood glue and it doesn't set right away, that it doesn't slide and shift off course. Mine's doing good. Okay, now it's time for this part. So pink is my overall color, so I'm going to do those ones first, and then I'm going to layer the orange and the white ones. So the big pink one I'm sticking, I'm cheating, guys, because I'm using the exact same one that I did before, because I liked how it was laid out, so I'm just going to copy it. And you can look at mine, so that way if you want to copy it as well, although there's a a little difference because I noticed when I was trying to figure out what colors were which size, I mixed up 2 on the orange and the white, but it's not a big deal. So, so this one is kind of a medium size. So I'm missing a large big one because I gave it to the orange one. So we're just gonna shift this here and stick that one on here instead. Probably could have shifted the, it's stuck already. Probably could have put the big one in the middle, but that is okay. There's really no set way to do this. It's just I like the last set, and well, so just be careful if you get the heart stuck and you're kind of shifting it and it's kind of stuck, don't push it too hard so that it breaks the stem. Okay, this one was down here. So you just want to be careful not to go lower than this part, like where it ends here, because this needs to fit into that slot, and if that gets in the way, then that can cause you some issues. Also to just watch, like if you stick some here, that it doesn't affect where it sits in the truck. So when I first did this, I had set it in the truck and kind of gauged what's not going to affect where it sits. Let me just see if this is dry now. I might be able to. So especially when you get some other designs in here, you'll just have to kind of watch. See, mine should fit in here. Just don't want to push on it that hard because I don't know if my glue set. So if I go in here a little bit, I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to push it in there. So let's pretend that this is in here now. So if you put hearts or any of your pieces too close to the truck, it might affect how it sits. So when you're ever laying out your other pieces for your other designs, set it into your truck and see where your pieces will work best, and then you can just pull it out and then set them into place there. So I'm just going to give that another minute before I try it. Okay, so next is I'm going to do the white. Okay, so we're going to sit this one here. See, that's where I had a bigger one, but that is okay. So yeah, let's put this one in here. See, if you overlap some of the different stems, and it kind of supports them a little better. There, and then I'll grab this orange one. Okay, and then this big one. Go here. See this bigger heart. I wonder if I should have swapped that around. It'll be too late now, but let's see. No, I'll just leave it. Okay, so this might get a little crowded in here because I have a different size than I was supposed to have. I was supposed to have the smaller one, but I'm just gonna put it there. And do I like that? Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so I'll just squish that into place. I mean, I would have sat there and repainted them, but because I'm at home at Christmas and I don't have my colors here with me, that's why I didn't go back and change it. So otherwise I would have just repainted them. Okay, so this should be dry now. And I'm just gonna try it. Just gently push it in there, and now be careful you don't squish these. So I tend to push near the base where there's a lot more support and just gently push it back and forth. Remember, if it's a little tight, you may have put too much paint on the bottom there. So just give it a sand. You can wear away as much as that finish because you're not going to see it anyways. But see, now that that's in here, see if you had put a heart here, you would have been, it wouldn't have been able to fit in there because there was no space for there. So that's why you'll want to just check and see where they'll be placed better. So yeah, just watch that when you're doing that. Same with here, you've got the space here to do the layering with more than one, and that's why that one's doubled up. But yeah, just it's important to watch this part of the truck. Okay, so now that that's done, then it will just set in your base just like that. So then when you're changing it out, just gently, oops, pull on it, especially near the bottom. And it sometimes takes a little bit to wiggle it out, but also the more you do it, change it out, this tends to become a little looser. But like I said, if you need to, you know, you can give this a sand. If your pieces are already on it, then just be gentle. You can always glue that, set this in, make sure it fits nice, and then glue on or place on your pieces. But let's do it again. It did fit before, obviously, but so I'm just pushing it in, especially where I've got the hearts. I'm just using that because I know that it's stabilizing the green part, and I'm not just pushing on the green. So in the back here, like I said, if you want to pull, so this is the second truck. This is the first one I did. So here, I just rubbed this all off, but no one's going to see it anyways. I still left this part on so that way nothing's going to stick to it. But if you wanted to, you can always peel this off and rub it off. Just don't rub off the part that's sticky here so it can stick on the truck. So, all right. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really like the Valentine's ones because I really like the colors. But yeah, we'll have the spring one come out. There's a daisy one. There's another flower one. There is a fall one that we started to do with the workshops, but we pulled it in the fall. And we'll just bring it out as a piece for you guys to interchange with your trucks. And then we'll have the Christmas one with the poinsettias. So, all right. I hope you guys all had a Merry Christmas and have a wonderful New Year. And I look forward to bringing out some more projects. All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.